Hi there, in this video I'll be talking about straight line graphs again. This is part 2. The details of part 1 are given in the description. Before you want to start this video, if you want to have a look at part 1 and make your base strong, it would be easier for you to follow it up. Before we start solving the problems related to straight line graphs, let's review what we learned in part 1. So we need to know the general equation is given by y equal to mx plus c, and m happens to be the gradient of the equation. So the formula for gradient is rise over run, or change in y coordinates divided by change in x coordinates. Second important point is you should always subtract in the same order, which means if you are using 0.2 in the numerator first, it has to be the same in the denominator. So that basically implies that you should be using, you can use the formula m equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, or you can use m equal to y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. So just be careful about the order. Third important point is we should remember that the gradients of parallel lines are equal. And the last point is if two lines are perpendicular to each other, the product of their gradients is -1. Let's see how do we use these points to solve the questions. Have a look at this example wherein we need to draw the graph for the equation. The equation is x plus 2y equal to 12. So we'll be taking different values of x and y and finding out the other variable. So first we put x equal to 0 and find y. When we do that, we get y as 6. So then we put y equal to 0 and find x. When we put y equal to 0, x turns out to be 12. In between, you can take any other value. Here I am taking x equal to 6. In this case, y turns out to be 3. So we just draw this table here. We have 3 points. Minimum 3 points are required to draw the line. If you want to confirm, you can take 2 more points so that you are sure of what you are doing. And have a look at this graph here. We have plotted these 3 points. So 0, 6, 6, 3 and 12, 0. You can see here the line is cutting x-axis at 12, 0 and y-axis at 0, 6. Have a look at this example where we need to write down the equation of a line with gradient -3 and y-intercept as 8. So gradient and y-intercept are given. You need to find the equation of the line. So y equal to mx plus c is the basic equation, we know that. So m is -3 and c is 8 here. So we just substitute the values in the equation and we get the equation as y equal to -3x plus 8. So this is the required equation. In our next example, we need to find the gradient and the y-intercept of the straight line, which is given by 8x plus 2y equal to 10. So here we need to rearrange the equation. So we'll be writing it in the form y equal to mx plus c. So when we rearrange, the first step we write is 2y equal to 10 minus 8x. Now here you can see the coefficient of y is not 1. So we have to make sure the coefficient of y is 1. So we divide both the sides by 2 so that we get y equal to 5 minus 4x. Now in this equation we can see the coefficient of y is 1. Now we need to still rearrange, as the coefficient of x has to come first on the right hand side. So we write it as y equal to minus 4x plus 5. Now we are ready to compare the coefficients, and when we compare the coefficients we get m equal to -4 and c is 5. In our next example, we need to find the gradient and the y-intercept and hence the equation of the straight line shown in the graph. So here we'll be using the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. That is the formula for the gradient. We need to find the values for x1, y1, x2 and y2. So you can read here from the graph, x1 is 3, y1 is 0, x2 is 0 and y2 is 18. We substitute the values and simplify for the gradient. So gradient turns out to be minus 6. And now we need to read from the graph how much is our y-intercept. So for y-intercept, we just read from the graph what is the value of y when x is 0. So you can see here y value is 18. So our y-intercept is 18. So now we substitute the values in the equation. We get it as y equal to minus 6x plus 18. This is the required equation. In our next example, we need to find the equation of the line L, which is parallel to the line y equal to 2x plus 5, and it passes through the point 1, 5. Now, because the line L is parallel to the line y equal to 2x plus 5, the gradients have to be the same because the lines are parallel. So that shows the gradient of the line L is also 2. So for L, we can write y equal to 2x plus c. Now the purpose is, next step would be to find c. So here we can substitute x equal to 1 and y equal to 5 because the line passes through this point. So when we substitute, we can get the value of c as 3. So now we have the value for m as well as c. So the equation becomes y equal to 2x plus 3. In our next example, we need to find the equation of the line L, which is perpendicular to the line y equal to 3x plus 8, and it passes through the point 2, 1. Now, because the line L is perpendicular to the line y equal to 3x plus 8, the product of the gradients has to be minus 1. So we put 3 times minus 1 by 3 equal to minus 1. That means the gradient of the line has to be minus 1/3. So we put the value, we get y equal to minus 1/3 x plus c. Now the purpose is to find the value for c. So here we will be putting x equal to 2 and y equal to 1 to find the value of c. When we do that, we simplify for c. C turns out to be 5 by 3. So our equation becomes y equal to minus 1/3 x plus 5 by 3. Let's now review the important points here. So first point is equation of the straight line is y equal to mx plus c. Here x is the variable, m is the gradient and c is the y-intercept. Second important point you need to remember is the gradients of parallel lines are equal because their slopes are equal. So the converse is also true. If the gradients of two lines are equal, that shows the lines are parallel. Third important point is if two lines are perpendicular to each other, the product of their gradients has to be minus 1. Or the converse is true as well. If the product of the gradients of two lines is minus 1, that shows the lines are perpendicular. I hope by now you are clear about the concepts of straight line graphs. How do we apply it in the given questions so that we can solve the questions with confidence? If there's anything you don't understand, I'll be happy to answer your question. Just write in the comments. Thank you. Have a good day.